All right, let's talk about money. Specifically, why it feels like the rules are just changing, right? Today, we're going to break down how one new financial channel is making all these complex topics super simple for, well, for anyone. Doesn't matter if you're saving up for a new game or you're starting to think about your long-term future. So, why does $100 feel so much smaller these days? It's a question I'm sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. You get $100 and poof, it just doesn't seem to go as far as you thought it would. And look, it's not just in your head. This feeling, it gets right to the core of a huge shift that's happening with money. And believe me, it affects every single one of us, no matter how old you are or where you're from. Okay, so the source for today's explainer is a pretty new YouTube channel called The Strategy Vault. And their whole mission is actually really simple: to prove that this powerful financial know-how shouldn't be some big secret just for the rich. Yeah, this quote really sums it all up, doesn't it? The channel's whole goal is to throw those doors wide open for everybody, whether you're 10 or 100. It's really about leveling the playing field, Making sure the tools you need to build a secure future are out there for everyone, not just a handful of people. So, what exactly is the big problem this channel is trying to tackle? Well, they've given it a name: the invisible money shift. It's that feeling we all have that the rules of money are just changing, almost in secret, and a lot of us are finding it tough to keep up. And here's the heart of the problem. Technology is just moving at warp speed, way faster than our bank accounts can keep up. I mean, just think about how quickly things like AI have exploded onto the scene. The argument here is that our old school ways of thinking about money, the whole just stick it in a savings account and forget about it idea, just haven't evolved. And that's leaving a lot of people in a really vulnerable spot. Now, this is interesting. The source material points to a specific date, April 2026, as being a really key moment for this whole invisible money shift. Now, whether that's meant to be a literal deadline or maybe just a symbol for this period of crazy fast change, it definitely creates a sense of urgency. The message is pretty clear. Now is the time to start paying attention. Okay, so how do you explain a big abstract idea like this to, well, to literally anyone, from a middle schooler to a grandparent? The Strategy Vault uses this really simple, but honestly super powerful analogy: the leaky bucket. But before we get to the bucket, we got to talk about one of the main culprits here: inflation. In the simplest terms, it's the reason why that $100 we talked about at the beginning feels smaller. Over time, your money just buys less stuff. It's like this silent force that's always eating away at your savings. And this is where the leaky bucket analogy just nails it. Imagine all of your money, everything you earn, everything you save, goes into a big bucket. The problem is that bucket has holes in it. One of the biggest holes is labeled inflation, and it's constantly draining the value out. But there are other holes too, called market shifts. These are the big, unpredictable economic changes, like the stock market taking a dive or a new technology totally changing an industry. These can drain your money too. So no matter how much you pour into the top, you're always losing some out the bottom. Okay, so the bucket is leaky. That sounds bad. So what's the fix? Well, according to the source, the answer is a word that might sound kind of corporate or complicated, but it's actually really personal. The answer is strategy. It's about having a real plan, not just hoping for the best. Yeah, let's just redefine this word right now. Strategy isn't just for billionaires and giant companies. The idea here is to think of it as your personal blueprint. It's a simple, clear plan that you design for your life to get you where you want to go. And this is how we connect the huge stuff happening in the world to your own life. All those global trends, things happening with tech in Silicon Valley or with trade in the Middle East, they aren't just headlines. Think of them like weather patterns. They affect your personal financial journey. And having a good strategy is like having a reliable weather map. It helps you navigate your own path, whether the forecast is sunny or stormy. And this is where the rubber meets the road. That blueprint isn't some abstract concept. It's about hitting your real-life goals. So if you're a student, your strategy might be the plan to save up for that new laptop. Or maybe it's the roadmap for paying for college. For a family, it could be about protecting the legacy they've built. For someone with a great idea, it's the plan to launch that small business. The blueprint is totally customized to whatever your dream is. So when you boil it all down, what's the main takeaway here? Well, the central message from this material isn't about scaring you with complicated stuff. It's actually the complete opposite. It's all about empowerment. Because at the end of the day, understanding money isn't some secret skill only for the experts. It's a basic tool for getting by in the modern world. It's about giving yourself the knowledge you need to patch those holes in your bucket and build a much stronger foundation for your future, no matter what your starting point is. And that brings us to the final and honestly the most important question. This whole explainer has been about breaking down a new way to look at finance, but the real point applies directly to you. Looking at your own goals, your own dreams. What's the very first simple step you can take to start building your financial blueprint?